My name is Ron Mao. I'm running for chairman of the Jackson County Board of Commissioners. 54 years old. My daytime job is I'm a college professor for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Serve as department chair for the university. Department chair of the Department of Business Administration. My educational background is a bachelor's and master's degree in civil engineering. I worked for a geotechnical engineer for about 13 years and returned to school part-time to obtain an MBA, and had so much fun doing that I decided to go back full-time and end up getting a PhD in finance. So my educational background and my experience being a leader as department chair, I think, bring a great set of skills to serve as chairman of the Jackson County Board of Commissioners.
My name is Brian McMahon, and I am running for re-election as chairman of the Jackson County Board of Commissioners. I'm a native of Jackson County. I'm 43 years of age. I grew up here in Silva, attended Jackson County Public Schools, and then went on to Western Carolina University, where I received a degree in political science, with my focus being on state and local government. I have served for 3 terms on the Jackson County Board of Commissioners. I have, for the last 17 years, worked at Balsam Mountain Preserve. I'm the chief of security. And I also have a long history with emergency services in Jackson County. I'm currently the assistant fire chief at Balsam Fire Department. I'm a member of Balsam Baptist Church, and faith plays a strong part in who I am. I'm married to Louisa, and we have 2 wonderful children, Henry and Annie, and we just enjoy living here in Jackson County and serving in this community. I believe my leadership philosophy is what I would characterize as a democratic visionary. I believe in motivating people to work together towards a common goal or vision. I've always tried to build consensus and to help pull people together to work towards a common goal. The role of chairman of the Board of Commissioners first is to chair the meetings, but it goes much more beyond that. It's because as a leader of the board, you're working to help build consensus and to guide the board in making decisions that are in the best interest of the county, where you can find common ground and come up with a vote that will benefit everyone. And also, as chairman of the Board of Commissioners, you are an ambassador for Jackson County, and you really are the official spokesperson for Jackson County, and are asked on numerous occasions to represent the county in different venues. So it's an important position that I take the responsibility greatly, and I always have tried to do my very best to make the people of Jackson County proud.
I believe in a servant leadership, which is about flipping the org chart. Is kind of the way that gets talked about. It's the easiest way. And so really what you're trying to do is empower those who are working most directly with your clients, or in this case with the citizens of Jackson County. And you want to give you want the employees to know that they're able to provide feedback to us, because we work for them partially. And so we can help improve that, help them do, they can let us know what we can do to help them improve their jobs, so they can continue to provide great service to the citizens of Jackson County. As far as the chairman's role, I think some of the big things are set the direction and tone of the county, facilitate meetings, and also empower our people. One thing I'll do as chairman is to increase the transparency of some of the decision making. The board should set policy, the county manager should execute it. If there's times the county manager needs additional information or feedback as far as executing a policy, I'll make sure somebody from the other side of the aisle or the vice chair is present in those meetings, and that does not happen right now. I think one of my goals would be, we recently funded all the SROs at all the public schools. Some of that's with grant money. Those grants don't go on indefinitely, so we need to start thinking now about a sustainable way to fund the SROs. I think relying on grant, it's great to get grant money, but we don't know that'll always be there. Another thing I want to get done is it's been being talked about. You can go back and find meeting minutes from October of 2007. That's the farthest I've gone back, where the Board of Commissioners is talking about an animal shelter. It's time to get that done. So I want to get that done. And then another thing that I think is important, we started this, talked about it when I ran in 2016, was getting asset management software so we can track major capital expenditures on existing facilities. We've done that for county facilities. We need to get the schools done and put them in that system too, so we know when roofs need to be replaced, air conditioners need to be replaced, pavements need to be replaced, all the major stuff. Not the maintenance so much, but major capital improvements to existing facilities.
If reelected, I would like to continue some of the capital project plans that we have been working on in Jackson County. The remodel of the Jackson County Health Department, the Health Sciences Building at Southwestern Community College, to be able to focus on some economic development incentives, to be able to work to try to recruit jobs and try to maintain some jobs and some efforts in economic development realm. There are several items that are on our agenda at this point, dealing with the homeless issue, food insecurity, school capital improvements, and making sure that our citizens have the best services possible. So all those issues will be those that I will be working on if reelected. I believe the effort to consolidate and then deconsolidate was a misguided effort by the board members that chose to do so. I think they ignored the facts and used their own opinions to make this decision, and also ignored the people of Jackson County, who overwhelmingly have voiced their opinion that that was the wrong move. I've always prided myself as listening to the people of Jackson County and trying to follow the will of the people, and it's obvious in this decision that the people of Jackson County would rather have dedicated professionals governing the Department of Public Health and Department of Social Services as opposed to politicians.
Well, the whole issue for me is the fact that I believe in streamlined services, continuous improvement, and always looking for ways to provide government services more efficiently. If we can spend less time on the back office and more time in the community providing services, that will benefit everybody. That's a tough question. We had a task force provide us a report, and that task force talked about best practices for similar counties to Jackson County. And one of their findings was that no counties similar to Jackson County actually have a brick and mortar homeless shelter that the county is responsible for operating. It's been a partnership with, or in some cases it's nonprofits stepping up and doing everything. But I think some sort of partnership between the county and nonprofits, maybe church organizations, and something like that is going to have to happen to do that. I don't know if you're ever going to solve the issue, but at least to improve those services. I think right now what we're doing, it works. Might not be sustainable. I know they've come back the last 2 years and asked for additional funds, and we've been able to fund that. So we are serving the homeless, maybe not as well as we could be.
Unfortunately, we live in a time where the gap between the rich and the poor is growing wider and wider and wider, and there's so many people right now in Jackson County that are just living from paycheck to paycheck, and it just takes one small problem to occur in their lives and they lose everything they have. We need to work to try to address some of these concerns. I believe it's just being a good neighbor. That's what we are about here in the mountains of Western North Carolina, is being good neighbors and helping our neighbors and friends. And when hard times fall upon folks, we ought to have a way to be able to reach out and provide them some assistance with food insecurity and with housing. And so I firmly believe that we need to address those issues in our county, and that one of those will be dealing with those that have no homes, homeless. Being able to do a collaborative effort with our faith-based community, with local nonprofits, and with local government to try to come together and provide a unique framework that will meet the needs of those individuals. I voted to not be in favor of the Brunch Bill, to not allow for it to pass. I'm still hold that position. I believe it is not in character with our community. I believe in listening to the people, and we had a wide range of people to speak at our public hearings, but the vast majority were not in favor of the brunch bill. I think out of respect for our local faith community that we should not expand alcohol sales on Sunday. Also, I think when you look at Jackson County and you look at the demographics, when you look at the data that's given on underage drinking, binge drinking, when you look at the number of alcohol-related traffic accidents and fatalities, we rank very high in those numbers compared to our other counties in North Carolina. So I think we're sending the wrong message by expanding alcohol consumption on Sundays.
The brunch bill's been voted on. The Board of Commissioners made a decision. I respect the board. I respect the decision. And I'm not going to reevaluate every decision that we make, or we will never move Jackson County forward. Well, it takes resources from the government, and as you mentioned, traditionally, that a lot of that has come from the state. So one thing we need to do is just keep open line of communication with our elected state representatives and appeal to them for more state dollars, and hopefully some would come through. So that's one thing we can do. The other thing is, the people have said, the people of Jackson County have said investing in schools is a priority. So we need to do what we can to solve this problem, and there's ways we can do that, and it does not have to include raising taxes. We can look for ways in the county government to save money and use that. And we can also try to grow the tax base in a smart way.
Historically in North Carolina, it is the state's responsibility to provide for operational costs, and it's the county's responsibility to provide for the capital infrastructure, the buildings. But over the years, that line has been blurred, and as state budget cuts have come into play, we've seen cuts to our local Jackson County school system, which has then put them in a position to seek additional funding sources. I'm proud to be a part of the Jackson County Board of Commissioners that have stepped up and helped backfill some of those state budget cuts, because we realize that our young people are our future and they are important, and we need to invest in our local schools. So I am always in favor of working to try to make sure that our young people have what they need. When it comes to their safety, to the safety of our school administrators, their staff, it's vital that we protect our kids and all those that work at the school system.